This week, I started a lesson that I've been teaching called Times of Testing. And what I wanted to encourage you with tonight is this. There are two important tools that God has given us in our tool belt to use during times of testing. Are you aware that our worship is warfare and praise is the weapon that we use to fight the war that we're in? My heart began to rejoice as I thought about praise and worship on this week because I began to put those same tools to use. And my heart rejoices because my mind began to think about how when we sing songs of worship from our heart to God, singing him love songs about how wonderful he is, how majestic he is, how beautiful are his ways, and how faithful that he's been to us, how trustworthy he is when it comes to him fulfilling his word. I went to Acts chapter 16, verses 25 and 26. In the New World Translation, it reads like this: "But about the middle of the night, Paul and Silas were praying and praising God with song. Yes, the prisoners were hearing them. And suddenly a great earthquake occurred, so that the foundations of the jail were shaken. And all the doors were instantly opened, and the bonds of all the prisoners were loosed." There's another version that I read in verse 25, and it says that Paul and Silas, they prayed undauntedly, and they worshiped and praised in the same manner. And what that means is Paul and Silas took a stand in that prison. In the midst of the battle, in the midst of the war, they came together and decided to use the tools that God had given them, worship and praise. And they worshiped and they praised, not intimidated by those around them, not intimidated by the circumstances that they found themselves in. They worship and praise without having any kind of discouragement because their mind was set on Jesus. Their mind was set on the battle that they were in because they were worshiping with expectation for God to come and to rescue them. They were not moved by the difficulty that they found themselves in, and they were by no means disappointed because they believed the results were going to be what the report of the Lord says. So just like Paul and Silas and how undauntedly they worshiped and they prayed, this is how powerful our weapons of worship and praise are. Our weapons of worship and praise are so powerful that God will take our worship and annihilate the darkness in the war, in the battle that we're in, by allowing his abundant light to begin to flow through. God will take our worship and our praise and destroy the plans of the enemy. He will devour his plots and his schemes. God will use our worship and dismantle every trap and every snare that the enemy will come to try to place in front of you. So my encouragement for you is today, don't run away from the battle, but stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Use your weapons of worship and praise and press into the battle, because as you press into the battle, your worship is going to dismantle the weapons and the plans of the enemy, and your praise is going to win the war.